I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. How about some good news? We're going to have the author of this book on the Trump Prophecies. Of course, he correctly predicted years in advance that Donald Trump would be the president of the United States. I'm talking about Mark Taylor, the author of the Trump Prophecies. Got some bad news. We're going to end with some good news because there is some good news. People have been asking for you to come on, but we have a lot of ground to cover. And I want to start with the most important story, and it's not the riots, although that's an important story, but the most important story is the relationship between the United States and China. And the tipping point is Hong Kong. China's basically taken over Hong Kong. They were supposed to give them democracy and autonomy for 50 years. Another deal that the Red Chinese, communist, totalitarian, dictator for life government there in China has welched on. Not the people, the government. And but you had said something really important a while back on this show on USA Watchdog. When you said it, I'm in the background taking notes, and you said, China's going to be put in its place. And I'm like, say what? China's going to be put in its place.
Right.
And guess what's happening now? I mean, Trump is saying that China caused this virus, and China is a bad player, and they flew people all over the world, and they didn't fly people around from Wuhan in China, but they flew Wuhan people all over the world, and China caused this, and 180 some-odd nations are suffering because of China, and China's the bad guy, and China's the bad guy. And now we're talking about sanctions and all kinds of onerous stuff with China, the trade deal falling apart. I'm going to leave it right there. You had said something to me in the pre-interview. China is finished. Say it, explain it.
Yeah, China is finished. Now, it was about a year and a half ago. I don't have the exact timestamp when I was on your show that I had prophesied on your show publicly for the first time. I said, look, everybody, at the time it was Russia, Russia, Russia. And it was Russiagate this, Russiagate that. And at the time I said, look, Russia is not the enemy. I said, China is the enemy. I said, China will be put in its place. I said, you will see maybe tariffs, a trade war, all the above. Look, again, here we go again with the prophetic word. We have to be very careful what we our unexpected or our unrealistic expectations of how we think a prophecy is going to come to pass. Even I didn't realize that it would be this Wuhan virus that was going to take China down. China's finished because what you're seeing taking place right now is all the above and a whole lot more right now because the entire world right now is coming down on China. I mean, look, they're actually paying companies to pull out of China, pull their manufacturing out. And the big one to me, Greg, was when Japan did that exact thing. They had like $2 billion of some kind of stimulus fund or something like that, where they were being paid to pull their manufacturing out of China. This is huge, brother. I mean, it's not the people of China. It's the CCP. It's the Communist Party of China that's going to go down. And I believe at some point that the people will rise up and they will take their country back at some point. Now, why is God doing this? He's doing this for countries all over the earth right now, which is good news. But is it going to be a fight? Yes, it's going to be a fight, but it will be done because God is with us. But he's literally setting these countries free all over the earth. Why? Because he wants the spiritually oppressed people of the earth to be set free so that his gospel can go forth throughout the earth.
I'll tell you what, when you said that China's the enemy and Russia's not, I don't know of anybody that was saying that at the time. I mean, some China experts were because they know China's a dangerous totalitarian communist regime. And Mary Barra, and I got to say this every time I bring up China, General Motors CEO, you're an idiot for building Chevys in China. You are an idiot for shutting down production in America. You should be fired. You should be fired and stripped and ripped of your title. But anyway, the China, Trump is intimating that China needs to pay for this.
Yes.
Are you getting anything on seizing? I mean, this isn't China with this Wuhan deal and the shutdown punched a multi-trillion-dollar hole in our economy. I mean, 20% of restaurants aren't going to open back up. Forget just the stimulus; that's a drop in the bucket.
Right.
Companies that were on the edge, fell into the drink, aren't going to open back up. Hertz Rent-A-Car filed for bankruptcy. Is Sears ever going to open back up? Is Penny's going to open up? I think they filed for bankruptcy. I mean, all these companies filed for this Wuhan thing destroyed many companies and many jobs. I mean, we have 40 plus million people unemployed. China punched a whopping hole into our economy. Are you getting anything on confiscation of assets or farmland? They own millions of acres, or businesses or whatever. They own the pork company Smithfield, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
are you getting anything on that?
Well, as my good friend Greg Hunter would say, I'm not getting pinged on that particular issue by God. So, but I mean, I'm just going by what the executive order that he signed. I think you read a headline pre-interview where he was talking about human rights abuse or something like that from
Well,
China.
people are predicting he's did his thing on Friday.
Right,
Who knows how far this is going to get ratcheted up? It's not going to be all at once. But
right,
they're going to go after I'm sure they're going to go after the Chinese government. He's written about this in his book, that there
right,
was the good China, the people, and the bad China, the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP.
right.
And so he's gonna, they're not going to vacation in Hawaii. They're not going to be coming to California. They're going to go after the student visas, which is 300 and some odd thousand, students, which many of which are in the Communist Chinese Party and in their military. And
Right.
they want to spend $1 trillion on tech, and they want to steal it. They steal everything. They renege on all their contracts. They renege on the trade deal. So you're not getting anything on confiscation of assets.
I'm not getting anything on confiscation of assets, but could he do that, let's say, under that executive order that he did? I don't know. We'll find out. You know what I mean? Is he going to start confiscating some of the assets that the Chinese own here? I have no clue. But God has not shown me anything as far as that particular thing, no.
But God did tell you about the China is going to be put in its place, and this certainly
Yes.
is. This
Yes.
is certainly putting China in. I mean, this was going to be the Chinese century. It was a short century.
Yep. And look, they were setting China up to be the superpower of the world. We all know that, whether it's manufacturing, militarily. We know that we've given them secrets over time. Certain people have. But look, this is what I believe God is doing right now. He's exposing all of this. He's bringing it to the forefront through the president and through many different things. But this is it for China. China's done. Again, it's not the people that are done. It's the CCP that's done. Is their economy going to take a hit? Absolutely, it's going to take a hit, and it may take that in order for the people to rise up and take their country back.
The Chinese government is an oppressive, unbelievable regime, and yet the corporate America. This is after Tiananmen Square. Let's just they killed 40 million people to get this China, the new China deal.
Right.
Those Chinese. They killed 10,000 people at Tiananmen Square. This is in '89, and corporate America went, just 10,000. I mean, the Chinese are okay. They're nice people. No, they're not. The people are, but the government is not. And we're going to see some onerous stuff come out of China. I mean, you're already seeing them, right? I mean, they're cracking down. Yeah. They're going to crack down on Hong Kong. That Hong Kong's finished.
Right. And see, if you look at, let's say, the trades thing right now, the manufacturing right now, if you walk into a box store somewhere and he stops, I'm not going to say he's going to stop trading completely with China, but how much stock would be removed from the shelves right now if he did something like that? You know what I mean? Because 90% of the stuff you're seeing on the shelves in some of these stores are made from China.
Walmart and Target would be obliterated.
Exactly.
And so the supply chains are going to come home. I mean, the no-brainer is the medical supply chain. I mean, you found out how, we don't make anything here.
No, even the pharmaceuticals are being made over there in China. So, and we'll get into that here, I'm sure, later in the show. There's going to be a lot of good stuff that comes out of all of this.
All right, something else you prophesied. So, China is going to be put in its place. We got that down. We also have a new prophecy. We're going to save that. And then you also had another prophecy about Obama would be ripped and stripped of his presidency, and that was before he left office.
2015, I wrote a prophecy that was like 1 month apart, that was on the Clintons, that they would be exposed and they would be prosecuted. A month after that, I wrote a prophecy that the Lord gave me that said that he would be ripped and stripped of his presidency. Now, I took a lot of heat over the years that I've been doing this so far, over that one prophecy right there. Because people said, well, you don't know your Constitution, or this, that, and the other, or because I said he would also serve a third term, which I'll get into in a second. But he would be ripped and stripped of his presidency. A lot of people, here again, unrealistic expectations of how something's going to come to pass, is that he would be ripped and stripped of the presidency, and then but people thought he would be impeached while he was in office. And I said, no, that's not what that means. I believe it means that after he's out of office, he would be charged with treason, and he would be stripped of the title called president. And that's the only way that I know of that a president can be stripped of the titles to be charged with treason. And now what do we have right now going on with President Trump? He is coming out publicly and saying that the Obama administration has committed treason, and it goes all the way to the top, and Obama knew it all.
When you said that, nobody would even mention him hardly. I mean, 2015, nobody mentioned that Obama was the ringleader of this deal. Now we went from Russiagate, and the president himself is calling it what?
Obamagate.
Boom shakalaka. And so, I mean, listen, he's got Jay Sekulow in the White House, who is a constitutional expert and a darn good attorney because he got him out of the whole Mueller thing, which was a scam. He was illegitimately impaneled. The whole thing was a scam. I mean, what a scam. Now you're seeing the whole Flynn thing. It's just a scam. They made it up. They made it up. Right. But there's no way he would be using the treason word unless Jay Sekulow was saying, yes, sir, Mr. President, it's treason.
Look at the language the president is using right now. Have we ever heard a president using this type of language from about an ex-president? No. So what is this telling you? They're going after this guy, and they're going after him hard. Is what they're going to do. This guy's going to go down. He's going to be charged with treason, and he will go to prison.
Wow. You think Obama's going to go to the big house?
I mean, wherever that is, Gitmo or wherever. I have no clue.
Well, look what they're doing. I mean, since you've been on the show, you had James Clapper 2 different times, 18 and 19, say, "Hey, the president made us do this." You had Susan Rice out saying that the White House attorneys made her, who worked for the president, made me write this memo. She had Susan Rice out also saying that that the whole Biden thing in Ukraine was because of Obama. I mean, everybody is saying Obama made me do it. I mean, their defense is going to be the executive, which is one person, that's the president, in the executive branch. It appears to me that their defense is going to be Obama made me do it.
Yeah, they're singing. They're singing. They're going to throw Obama under the bus. There's no doubt about it, to save their own hides. So, but I mean, the point is that this guy's going to be prosecuted. We're seeing tough language from the president right now. Are we going to see him perp walk on national television, which is what everybody wants to see, him and Hillary? And everybody asks, well, when are the arrests going to take place? Well, we know there's low-level and mid-level arrests taking place. The pedophiles are getting cleaned up a lot. The human trafficking stuff's getting cleaned up. Are they going to perp walk her and him? I have no clue. And people ask me that all the time. I really don't have any clue, and I do not know the timing of this whole thing. God has not shown me that. I try to steer clear of the timing issues because anyone in the prophetic will tell you the hardest thing to prophesy is timing on something, because God can't change his mind on certain things. And this is a battlefield. The battlefield is constantly moving right now. It's free flowing, constantly moving. Things change, So, but they will ultimately they will serve justice, and that's partly one of the reasons that Donald Trump is in office, is to give justice to these elites, these globalists, to take these things down, to drain the swamp.
And you think you were saying in the pre-interview that you think this rioting, basically it's spread to multiple places all over the country.
Oh yeah,
it's this rioting over this guy that was killed by the cops in Minneapolis. Clearly, he was killed on. Right. I don't think they ought to be burning down, all the stores and rioting and stealing stuff. But you're saying that there's a tie-in. What's the tie-in?
There's a tie-in to all of this. It's a timing issue. Look at the timing of this thing. This is a deep state thing that's going on right now. This is just my humble opinion, okay? But here's the point. This is what the Lord was showing me, is that during these riots, look at this. We've all been stuck at home for the last month and a half like caged animals. Now all of a sudden they go and the COVID thing failed. That was a deep state thing. That failed. So now they move on to the race card. Well, why are they playing the race card? They're trying to the racial division. You've got the sports figures, the Hollywood figures are all coming out. They've been activated, all saying the same thing. They're trying to stoke the fires of racism. Why is that? Because they know FISA's about to drop. The information on Obama is about to come out, and they don't want to see the first black president's destiny, if you will, or his history, his legacy go up in flames. And so they're doing this so that it will put pressure on the president so that he will not prosecute the president or Obama. He won't prosecute Obama.
Because there'll be too much social unrest and riots.
Too much social unrest, which will lead me into something else here in a second. We'll get into this.
No, get into it now.
Okay, all right. So, which also the timing of this whole thing. Because here's the thing, and the Lord told me this, and I wrote it down. I'm going to read it right here. It says, it's going to come to blows between Christians and justice. Let me say that again. It's going to come to blows between Christians and justice. Now, what do I mean by that? What's the Lord talking about here? Because what's going to happen here is Trump's got a spiritual advisory board. And some of these people up there around that advisory board are vipers. I'm sorry. I'm just calling it what it is. And because the Lord has shown me this. And so what's going to happen is that when the heat gets turned up, which is getting turned up right now, and they start the rioting, and it's coming out that he's going to prosecute Obama. They're going to play the race card. It's going to be, oh, come on, guys, these so-called spiritual advisors. You're going to see them come out of the woodwork. Preachers across the country, Christian leaders across the country, even Christians themselves are going to fall into this trap. That, oh no, we can't do justice against the president because he's a black president. We're going to stoke the fires of racism, this, that, and the other. And what the Lord is saying, no, he will be prosecuted and he will serve time. And whatever that is, whatever that prosecution or whatever has been determined for him, whether it's life in prison or something else for treason, I have no clue. But the point is that what the Lord is saying is that no, you don't have heaven's agenda or heaven at best heart, God's interest at best heart, because he will give justice, period, to any and all. It has nothing to do with skin color. But they're trying to make it about skin color so that they will not prosecute the first black president.
And you think that's what these riots are all about? You had Keith Ellison,
well,
the Attorney
General. About there's many layers to these riots, but that's one big issue out of these riots that nobody's touching on.
There's a Antifa. They're also reporting that these people aren't from there.
Correct. And it's not.
Didn't you have one of the police chief in Minneapolis say these mostly?
Police chief of Minneapolis came out publicly and said that most of these people that are agitators that are there are not from Minneapolis.
The residents want them gone. The residents are saying
want them gone. So my question is, who's trucking them in? Who's paying for them? That's my question.
You had Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, who's you got Keith Ellison picture with Portland Antifa leader
at Minnesota State Fair. He's pictured with it. Now,
hold it up there. Hold it up there so people can read it.
Back in November 5th, 2018. All right.
And this is Laura Loomer, who's running for Congress.
Yep, right there he is. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so bring it up. No, bring the picture up. Yep. Go up, up. Stop right there. So that's the Antifa leader.
Yes, absolutely.
With Keith Ellison in the plaid shirt.
Yep. So this is not a coincidence, folks, that Antifa is in Minneapolis and starting all these issues. See, there's a huge agenda going on here, Greg. It's all deep state related. I honestly believe that.
I do believe that. Is this? So this is part of, you also prophesized that, so here's our new prediction. The new prediction is that Christians are going to come to blows with justice. Yep. And that's the Christian count. You say that these guys are vipers, and some of them are vipers. They're just...
Some of them, not all of them, but some of them are vipers up there. But look, they're just there for the prestige of saying, hey, I'm part of the president's spiritual advisory board. You know what I mean? So, and some of these guys are prosperity preachers, but I'm not going to go down that road right now. So again, biblically speaking, the spiritual advisory board, the prophet always advises the king, not a preacher or a pastor. They're in the wrong role. The spiritual advisory board, I don't have a problem having a spiritual advisory board or as far as having a intercessory board is what they need to be. They need to be there for intercession purposes only, not advising the president on spiritual issues. I'm sorry, that's not biblical.
And this is all part of Obama's third term. He had to have a third term because he's desperate to cover all this up. I mean, everybody is saying Obama did it. Even the president is saying we caught him. It's Obamagate. I mean, the president's great at branding, right? He did the Apprentice, right? You're fired. That branded that. He did Mr. Branding. Sleepy Joe. Low energy. What's his name? Jeb. Crooked Hillary. I mean, Obamagate. He's branding Obama. So, and Obama absolutely had his third term, and he had he's in the Washington. Valerie Jarrett moved into his house.
And I had prophesied he was going to go for a third term, and I got hammered for that. People were saying, "Oh, you don't know your Constitution. He can't do that. This, that, and the other." Now it's being confirmed that he's got his headquarters, like you just said, a couple of miles down from the White House with Valerie Jarrett in there, and he's running a shadow government right now. That's his third term right there.
Yeah, he did. He had his 30,000 group call for action or call his group of Antifa people that protest and go out and all this other stuff. You just think it's all part of the ratcheting up. I don't think this is going according to plan. One of the things that you said was, the deep state is really nervous and nothing's working.
Oh yeah,
And now that the
right.
Obama thing's over, the impeachment thing failed, and now we
COVID
have.
failed. COVID failed.
Oh, you think COVID failed?
COVID failed. Failed
Tell me.
miserably because the president is exposing this. You have people like Dr. Judy Mikovits out there that are exposing this right now.
Yeah.
Dr. Fauci and Birx, who had her in prison for what she was trying to expose years ago. We're all learning about Fauci. We're all learning about Birx. We're all learning about the CDC, which I'm going to go into all that here at the end of the show here about the good news part of all this. And so, all of this is being exposed. So the whole COVID thing was a false flag. I believe they knew it was coming, so they were trying to get prepared for it, but they're using it to expose a lot of stuff, which again I'll get into here in a little while. But the point being is this is all to me it's all good stuff. But the COVID thing failed flat because people are onto it. People are learning that this is not the way it was supposed to be. So again, I'll go into all that here in a minute because I know you wanted to hold on to that to the end of the show.
Well, our governor, I brought this up in my weekly news wrap up. This is the early Senate release on Friday. Our governor, Baby Killer Cooper, he signed the bill that you don't have to protect a baby if they make it out of an abortion. Yeah, he vetoed that. We had a bill through our legislature that said you got to protect a baby if they make it through an abortion. Nope, not Baby Killer Cooper. But anyway, that's why I'm explaining that. So, but he doesn't want to have he doesn't want to play ball with the Republican National Convention that they want to have in Charlotte. It's tens of millions of dollars, and he can't commit to in 2 months from now. We've had less than 800 deaths in North Carolina. It's a state with over 10 million population, less than 800 deaths, and we've been locking everything down. I mean, this Fauci and Birx they missed by every major call by orders of magnitude. They're a couple of quacks at the very least, or they're seditious and evil.
Or all the above. So, I mean, but when you're looking at this, though, again.
So it's a political. So here in my state, you could see it right now.
Right.
Why would you turn out tens of millions of dollars after all this shutdown unless it was a political play with less than 800? That's 0.006. I don't know. It's 0.00 something in terms of population. The deaths here in North Carolina.
See, here again, when you look at the COVID thing, what was it designed to do? It was designed to shut down the economy to make the president look bad for the election. I've been, again, God was warning us, which it doesn't take a prophetic warning to figure this out, is that this is going to get very intense between now and the election because time is short. And so it's like the other thing. I've been saying this for months and months now, is that there's two things that the president has to do before the election. One, he's got to get control of the voter electoral fraud. Two, he has to lift the suppression off of the people on social media. Otherwise, the truth's not going to get out. How is he going to disclose the FISA information? All this disclosure that's fixing to come about, Greg, how are they going to do that when the suppression is taking place on social media? It's not, what good is going to disclose this information if we can't get the truth out? So what's coming to the forefront right now? Literally at the same time, mail-in ballots, voter electoral fraud, and the Twitter thing with the whole social media thing. Is it what is it? Something 230 he's trying to enact or something like that, isn't it? What it's called?
Well, he's basically taken away their liability protections,
right.
because they are acting as when they put on their their Twitter's putting on these these fact checks, which are lie checks. They just want to lie to you about it, and they're putting content on. So they're no longer just a provider of a bulletin board. They're now a editor. They are a supplier of content creator. Now they're liable. Now they lose their liability. That's what the premise is. And the executive order
liability protection.
That's right. And it means everybody that is being suppressed can sue them.
Well, see, this is what I believe is going to take them down, which we all know. Other individuals were saying the lawsuits are going to have to take place in order to put these guys in their place. So do some of these platforms collapse? We'll find out and we'll see. Does the president stay on Twitter? Does he go somewhere else? I don't know. I'll stay on Twitter until the president moves. People have asked me that. I'm not going to move until the president does because, people say, well, how come you don't go to this Christian platform over here? I'm like, well, that's not where the fight's at. The fight's over here on Twitter. The fight's where everybody can see what's going on if they will just unsuppress it. See, that's what scares them to death. They don't want to take the suppression away from us because that's part of their stealing. That's part of their cheating. The voter electoral fraud. This is the only way the Democrats can stay in office is to lie, steal, and cheat. And this is the other thing, too. I'll bring this up. I was this close from prophesying that California was going to go red in 2016. Now I'm not so sure it didn't. But now I believe California has gone red, which is why you're seeing California being stifled so bad by their governor out there right now.
Well, you know what? He has already written a executive order talking about mail-in voting, and I'm thinking,
right.
did he already lose it? Why is he? Why
already lost it?
Why would a guy that has total control with all this illegal voting and illegal aliens and ballot harvest? Why would a guy need more cheating if they already have control of the state? And you're saying.
I tweeted that out a week and a half ago saying that they have already lost California, which is why they are panicking. If they lose California, Greg, the Democrats are finished. We all know that that's the largest electoral college vote in the country right there. That is the Democrats' playground. That's their headquarters. That has been their stronghold for how many decades? I believe they've already lost it, which is why they're panicking and they're coming out with all these things to try to hold on to it.
And why do you think they're losing? You think Democrats are looking at this as going, "Whoa, I can't go to the beach. You're going to keep me inside, and I didn't vote for this. This isn't. Whoa, this isn't what I."
Okay. So let me go into this part right here.
Okay.
It is more. What's the word I'm looking for here? More intense or more. You know, when you tell somebody something. Okay. Let me just use this analogy. When you tell somebody something, that's one thing, but when you live something out, it has a far greater impact on your life for the rest of your life than if someone just to tell you something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is why I believe. Again, I'm trying not to go into the good stuff here at the end, but this is part of the good stuff.
We can start going there now. Let's start right here.
Right. This is part of the good stuff that's about the COVID-19. Again, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. What's what this COVID stuff is. What is the COVID doing? What is the good that's going to come out of this whole COVID thing? One, it's showing you where your tyrannical governors are, your tyrannical leadership is, whether it's at the federal level, whether it's at the state level, your governors, your sheriffs, your police departments, your mayors, at the local levels. It's showing all of this is all starting to come out into the open. So what's happening here? If people tell you, oh, this guy's corrupt, big deal. He's been in there for how long? No big deal. But when you are in lockdown and you are suffering through some of this stuff, you're living it out. It now has a far greater impact because guess what? When these guys go to the voting booth, that's exactly where they're going to. That's exactly what their fight back's going to be. That's their weapon, is to go into the voting booth and vote these jokers out. Now, again, we've got to get control of the voter electoral fraud in order for that to be effective, because we know they're using this big time to try to retain power. Because, again, I believe they've lost a lot of these places. Because the Lord told me a long time ago, he said, Mark, he said, you don't have as many blue states and blue zones as you think you do. He said, because it's being stolen.
So this is what the good news is with all this. Is this, and I'm thinking to myself, you're dumping tons of dirt on skate parks. Those are Democrats. You're stopping people from going to the beach. Don't Democrats go to the beach? You're stopping Democrats from working. Don't Democrats have businesses?
Right.
I mean, do you think everybody wants?
And look how slow they're opening up some of these Democrats. They're not allowing them to even open up at this point. At least here in Florida, Governor DeSantis, we're at 50% capacity. Now, I personally think we need to be moving a little faster than that, but that's nor here nor there. But some states aren't even opening up at all at this point. They're being forced to wear a mask. Okay, so I mean, everywhere they go. So, but I mean, there's a lot of good that's going to come out of this. Again, people have to live this out. It's almost like the 2016 election or the 2012 election. When who was it? Was it the 20? Yeah, it was 2012 when Trump was toying with the idea of running. You remember that?
But he didn't do it.
But he didn't do it. He never announced he was running. He was toying with the idea. That's because God said that America needed another 4 years of Obama where they would build up a righteous anger and say enough is enough and take back their country. The same thing's happening now at a state level, basically, not just at a federal level. We've done this at a federal level. Now we're working our way down to the state level and the local levels at this point. We're getting to the root of all of this mess right now. So people are having to live this out so that it have a far greater impact, so that when they go to the voting booth or when they do these things, they will get these people out of office and we can root out the corruption in all levels.
I think they've lost far more black people than they would admit to. Candace Owens is, you can't have somebody who's intelligent thinking for themselves in the black community because, your Uncle Tom or some deal You can't think for yourself. Heaven forbid. You can't be a famous pediatric neurosurgeon and be a Republican. You can't be Ben Carson. Oh my gosh, he's how dare him? It's just like Biden had bubbled out that if you don't vote, what do you say? You ain't Democrat. If you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black. Wow, what a.
But see here again, good news, because the blacks are having to live this out, and they're seeing this now firsthand, and now they're beginning to wake up and beginning to exit the whole whatever it was called, the walkaway movement for the blacks that was going on.
Yeah, Blexit.
Yeah. So now,
Blexit.
But also here's some more good news, and we touched on this a little earlier. Prescriptions, where are they being made? Over in China. This is all coming to the forefront. What's being exposed? The CDC. What else is being exposed? The FDA. Here's what we haven't even touched on right now. Everybody was talking about it was a conspiracy theory about Bill Gates and the vaccines. What's coming front and center? Bill Gates, the vaccines. What are they putting in the vaccines? All of these things were conspiracy theories at one point. Now it's not a conspiracy theory. We have facts on the table of these things that have been going on behind the scenes now. It's all coming to the forefront of what they've been trying to do to us for many, many years, which is the depopulation agenda.
Yeah. I mean, Gates has been on record saying that he wants to.
Absolutely.
You look at the Georgia Guidestones, only went 500 million people. All you elite, why don't you show us the way? Why don't you step off a 10-story building and you show us the way, elites that want that to happen? Maybe you should be first.
Maybe they should be first taking the vaccines.
Yeah. And you think this is the good news here?
This is the good news. All this stuff's being exposed. It's waking the population up to what's actually been going on. Now, we still have a lot of work to do. I'm driving around town and I'm seeing people driving their cars by themselves wearing a mask.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Fear.
It's telling you that the brainwashing and the indoctrination from the mainstream media has been powerful over the years, and it takes a lot of truth or living it out in order to break that indoctrination.
And you're saying that your big new, I want to make sure I get this, your big new prophecy is Christians are going to come to blow over justice. In other words, they're going to fight over putting people in jail.
They're going to fight over putting people in jail, prosecuting some of these people, some of these leaders, because they're going to see all these issues like what's going on right now with the riots, and they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, we just need to all get along, kumbaya, and it's for the sake of unity." And that's not unity. That's not the kind of unity. God is going to lock up these globalists and these elites. He's taking down this new world order.
What's the good message here? First of all, let's talk. How about a Trump prediction for you? You had said before that he'll be 2 terms. Other people have said the same thing. Bo Pony thinks, I don't know, Trump's going to make it in. This COVID thing's not his fault. They're not going to be able to pin that on him.
No,
it's China's fault.
And look.
But do you think Trump's going to be?
Yes, he will be in for a second term.
Oh.
Number one. Okay. Number two, the economy will come back stronger than it ever was before, even before. It will come back stronger and bigger than it was before.
In the next term.
In the next term. The third thing, there will be another Trump in the White House. I don't have the timing on this. I've said this before, that the Lord gave me a dream. I believe it was on your show I released it.
Yeah.
There's another one I released.
Yeah,
okay? Yeah. I said that there will be another Trump in the White House. The Lord gave me a dream. I saw Don Jr., and then I didn't see him, but I knew it was JFK Jr. Now, I'm not saying JFK's alive or dead. I'm not going to get into all that. But what the Lord was trying to put an emphasis on was the junior part. Now, could it be a junior ticket? Yes, it could. But here again, unrealistic expectations. We've got to be careful. I'm not saying it's going to be JFK Jr. or anything like that. It could be a junior that has not come on the scene yet, because God was putting an emphasis on the junior part. And it was like 24 hours, 48 hours later after I released it on your show that Don Jr. came out publicly and said that he was thinking about running for office.
Don Jr., that's got to be one of the juniors. That's somebody's junior.
Yeah, that's got to be one of the juniors. But could it be a different junior as a vice president? Absolutely, it could.
But you think
now could it be Ivanka somewhere down the road? I don't know. I think there's going to be a Trump dynasty going on.
Really?
I could be wrong.
But you definitely think he gets reelected in 2020?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. If they look, especially if he gets rid of the suppression. And especially if they deal with the voter electoral fraud, forget it, game over, which is exactly why they're trying to cheat, because they know they've already lost this thing. Who's their savior right now? Biden? Give me a break, man. Look, this guy can't even complete a sentence right now. Something's going on with Biden, whatever that is. So we all know Biden's not going to last. We know that he's probably going to step aside, and someone else is going to step in. Now, who is that? I have no clue. We're going to find out. Is it Michelle? Is it Hillary? We're going to find out.
Is it Cuomo? Mr. Sending 5,000 people to their death at nursing homes?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't.
So, and the good news. So, what's the overall good news? The good message here? Because I started off with we're going to have good news. So, things are being exposed.
Things are being exposed, and but in that in that exposure comes disclosure. With the disclosure is going to come justice at some point. They're going to issue justice on all of this stuff right now. People were so worried about when Attorney General Barr came out and said that they weren't going to investigate Obama or something like that.
I think he said at this time.
At this time, right? Okay. So, but then you start looking into this whole thing, because now here's the other thing I prophesied, is that I went public with it for the first time the day after the election, which is the morning after the election. I said there will be military tribunals that would be so big that it would make Nuremberg look like a cakewalk, and people thought I was nuts. And now what do you have coming forth right now? You're seeing him kind of setting up for the whole military tribunals. Military tribunals have been talked about in more than one arena. So was Barr telling the truth? Does treason fall under the DOJ, or does it fall under a military tribunal? Don't know. We're going to find out.
Trump could name a special prosecutor too. Some people are calling for that he should just bypass the whole DOJ, take the political horse and put it back in the barn, and just get somebody that can completely, because the left is William Barr is doing the bidding of Donald Trump. William Barr is doing so. I mean, I don't see how you can get around the treason part and this the coup, which again, now the media told us for 2 years, the mainstream media, that Donald Trump was a spy. Total lie. They didn't apologize for that. And now they're totally missing, will not report on this failed coup they took the dossier paid for by Hillary Clinton, and they used it to fraudulently apply for spy warrants at FISA, which the mainstream media just will not, they will not report on.
Right. So again, so the good news is this, man, because I know we're winding down here. So the good news is a lot of different things right now. Things are being exposed. There's disclosure coming. And they have to leak this stuff out a little bit at a time, Greg, because when the people truly find out what all's been going on, especially with those they've trusted, stuff that's been going on even in our ministries, in our seminaries, in our churches, it's going to devastate people. So they're going to have to leak this stuff, and I say leak this stuff out, you know what I mean, drip it out, so that the people will be able to retain this. It'll be able to sink in, because if you release a lot of this information, what actually has been going on in our country, what these last 5 presidents have been doing to us, I mean, people are going to be, it would almost start a civil war if you dropped it all at once, or they just wouldn't be able to take it at all. They would just say, forget about it. This is just all conspiracy theory. That's what you don't want. You want the truth to be able to sink in so that people will be able to process it and they can move forward.
Well, look at all the Republican congressmen and senators. I think there's 9 senators and 20 some odd congressmen and women who are Republican, who want to give jobs to foreigners, with 40 million people unemployed here in America. They want to bring in more foreigners to take American jobs while we have 40 plus million people unemployed. This is the Republicans selling us out.
It's the Republicans, the rhinos. Yeah. So again, this is all. It depends on what your perception is. How are you looking at things right now? See, when people look at this, they get angry with the rhinos, and rightfully so. Don't get me wrong. But to me, it's good news, because they're being exposed. They're showing them who they are. Now watch, mark my words now. Listen to this now. When this stuff starts, which has already started right now, the riots, this, that, and the other, but when they start arresting people, I'm talking about publicly, if they arrest Comey or Brennan or maybe even Obama and Hillary at some point, I don't know when that's going to be, but when they do, and if it starts to flare up again, be very mindful of who comes out and says, oh, we shouldn't be doing this, we just need to get along. There's your wolves in sheep's clothing. I don't care if it's a political leader. I don't care if it's a religious leader. There's your wolf in sheep's clothing right there, because they don't have God's best interest at heart. They don't know what God is trying to do on the earth right now.
And you're saying that God wants to clear the deck so the gospel can be heard worldwide. That's a prediction in the Bible.
Absolutely. This is a cleanup, is what this is. This is cleaning up. This is not our apocalypse. This is theirs right now. If you're part of the remnant, you're part of God's people. This is not your apocalypse. This is theirs. They know it. Look, they know time is short right now. Why are the false flags kicking up? We've had shootings, we've had fires, like out in San Francisco on Pier 45. Pier 45, that number 45. You think that wasn't prophetic? Trying to get a message to the president, 45. So I mean, would you have all these things? Like the guy that killed the cop that killed the guy was on 33rd Street, 33rd Mason. Okay, this is not coincidence here, guys. This is all prophetic. So I mean, these are all deep state related things. But I mean, again, why are they doing this right now? Because they know their time is short. Their end is in sight right now. It's like I tell people this analogy. This is like dealing with a caged, wounded, cornered animal right now.
The deep
It's
state.
like the deep state right now.
Globals.
This is what you're dealing with. Look, does it mean that they has the enemy been taken down or have they been neutralized? No, they've been taken down. They know that. They're already been taken down. But they haven't been neutralized, and there's a difference. When you take someone down to the ground, have they been neutralized? No, they're still a threat. So if they're caged, they're cornered, they're going to come out fighting with everything they have at that point. It's just that instinct, and that's exactly where we're at right now on the timeline.
Very good. And the last word for people to because I listen. I admit I get pretty negative, but I want people to be ready for everything and be informed, right, and not be blindsided.
Right.
But what would you like to finish up saying? Just anything that comes to mind, anything that you moved to say. What would you like to say?
I think the biggest thing for people right now is be careful with your perception, and when things happen right now, see the good side of things right now. Have a balanced life. Look, we have to be prepared for what's coming. We have to know how to pray. So we do have to watch some of the bad stuff right now so that we know which direction we're going in. We need to know our strategy and tactics of how to fight. But you have to have balance, okay? Shut this thing off, okay? It's not good to be having this thing constantly. Spend time with the Lord. Go outside like I do. Walk with your dog. Get some fresh air. You know what I mean? Go do something. If you're not on lockdown, you can go out. Go to the beach, you know what I mean? Whatever the case is, spend time with your family right now. That's the other thing that came good out of this whole COVID lockdown thing is it brought families together, believe it or not, because they were stuck in the home by themselves. It forced them to have the family unit again. So, I mean, there's a lot of good in everything that's happening. Even though it may look negative, it may look dark, it's actually the light shining in the darkness. It's exposing the darkness right now.
Thanks, Mark Taylor. People have been pinging me to have you back on. And you did not disappoint. And I appreciate you coming on. Do you have any other books coming up? Yeah, listen, your book here, which you still sell, but yeah, I know you, and I don't, hopefully I'm not disclosing anything. You don't really make that much money on this. You're a first-time author. No. And not that the publisher was bad. That's just the way it is. No. But you still sell this book, The Trump Prophecies. I put a link up for it. You do make something off this book. The prophecies are free. So anybody say, well, he charged you for the prophecies. You need to stop. I'll put a link up to all the prophecies are free, have always been for free. This is the backstory. It's fascinating, actually. Frankly, it's, my wife and I both read the book, and it's a fascinating backstory of your life and where you got to where you are. You are a retired firefighter, so you just have which is that's not a king's ransom or a pension from fire department. But you also have something sword rescue. It's a drag. Tell me about your project that you've been working on for years, and I think you've maybe turned a corner.
Yep. We finally have a new distributor that's handling a lot of our orders now, and so we're finally starting to move forward with this.
What is the invention? It's a way to put a body on that one person can drag.
Yeah, it's a rescue device for military, law enforcement, fire service, pets. I mean, if you got a senior living in your home that falls down, you can hurt a senior if you pick them up incorrectly. So you can put them in the sword, put them back to bed safely without hurting them.
What's a sword? What's the sword stand for?
It stands for Special Operations Recovery Drag. So they can go to sword.us for more information on that. For the prophecies, they can go to swordrescue.com.
Yeah, put that up.
Yep. And so the prophecies are free. They've been free before the book ever came out.
And the drag bag is like Kevlar or something, right? Some special materials, like slides and stuff.
We have 3 different models. One I can actually extract with a helicopter and ride out with them if they want to. It just depends on what industry that you're actually in. For people that are in the home, we actually the home market was actually bigger than we thought. Now that's starting to kind of move now because they have a senior citizen living at home. They're afraid if they fall, they can't pick them up. It protects you as the rescuer and the victim when you're putting them back to bed or back in a chair or this, that, and the
And
other.
you've really made no money on this at all. I mean, you're just trying to get it off the ground.
Not yet. Yeah, we're just people don't understand. This has like been 14 years trying to get this off the ground. That people don't understand the amount of money and time and effort it takes to get an invention going.
Yeah, well, I understand how it takes to get a website going because
Yeah.
my first 5 years was bing write-offs. But anyway,
Right.
more about you. So I'll put up the links for Sword Rescue, your device. I'll put up for the Sword, the Prophecies.
Yep.
And a book link for your book for all you people on YouTube. Go to the right through and click back to usawatchdog.com. There'll be a link in all the links will be in the after the interview section. Mark Taylor, thank you for coming on and enlightening us and inspiring us. Thank you very much. For the positive ending about what you said. I mean, it's just very good to hear. Thank you very much for joining us today on USA Watchdog and the early Sunday release. Thanks again.
Thank you, brother, for having me on. It's always an honor to be on your show.